Today we're making pillowy soft sweet potato cinnamon rolls. Sweet potato is the secret ingredient here, and it's going to yield cinnamon rolls that are soft, pillowy, fluffy, delicious. I'm Whitney from Sweet Cayenne. I'm all about helping you find delicious recipes made with seasonal, high-quality ingredients. Let's make some cinnamon rolls. In a small saucepan, you'll want to melt a 1/4 cup of butter into 1 cup of low-fat buttermilk over low heat. In a bowl of a stand mixer, combine 1/2 cup of lukewarm water, 3½ teaspoons of active dry yeast, and 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar. Mix that on low to combine. Then you'll add 1 cup of all-purpose flour and then mix that on low just until it's combined. Next, you'll want to add 1 cup of cooked mashed sweet potato, the cooled buttermilk and butter mixture, 1 egg, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1½ teaspoons of salt. Mix that all together on low until it's well combined, and you may need to stop halfway to scrape down the sides and ensure everything gets well incorporated. Then you'll add 4 additional cups of all-purpose flour to the batter, and then you'll mix it on low speed with the paddle attachment until it starts to form a dough. Then you'll replace the paddle attachment with the dough hook, and you'll knead on medium-low speed, adding 1 additional 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour as the dough is kneading for 5 minutes. Turn the dough out onto a well-floured surface and then knead it with your hands for 2 to 3 minutes until a smooth dough ball forms. So now that our dough is ready, we're just going to transfer it to a greased bowl. You want a bowl that's pretty large in size, and we're going to cover it with plastic wrap, or you could use a damp towel. That's why you want to use a bowl that's pretty big so that you ensure that your dough doesn't rise all the way up to the top and then get stuck on anything. But we're going to put this to rise in a warm place for about an hour to an hour and a half till it's doubled in size. After running my dryer on high for 20 minutes, I like to use it as a proof box to let my dough rise in a warm area. For the cinnamon sugar topping, you'll combine 1 cup of brown sugar, 1/2 cup of granulated sugar, and 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. Mix that all up until it's well combined. So the dryer actually did a fantastic job of proofing our dough. As you can see, it's risen almost all the way up to the top of the bowl, and it's doubled in size. So now for my favorite part, we're gonna punch it down, release all of that air, and as you can see, it's soft and pillowy, easy to work with. We're going to plop it down onto a floured surface. Let me put this over here to the side, and you're going to be amazed at how easy this dough is to work with and roll out. If you've never made a yeast dough before, this sweet potato cinnamon roll recipe is perfect for beginners because the dough is so easy to work with. So we're just going to put a little flour on the top and on our rolling pin, and we're gonna roll it out into a big rectangle. We're gonna roll the dough out till it's about a 1/4 inch thick. So you just wanna make sure as you're starting to roll it out that the surface is well floured and that the dough isn't sticking as you roll it out. So just go back and forth and a little bit this way and try and get it into as even of a rectangle as possible. Sometimes as I'm rolling out, I'll use my hands to help reshape the dough and guide it into the shape that I want it. And if you see little air bubbles as you're rolling out, you can just pop those. It just means that the yeast is nice and active and that we're going to get a great rise to yield a really fluffy cinnamon roll. And if you ever find that your dough, you're having a little bit of difficulty getting it to stretch out as far as you want, just let it rest for 5 minutes or so, and you'll find that after it rests for a few minutes, it's much easier to roll out again. This makes a huge batch of cinnamon rolls. So if you're going to go to the trouble of making homemade cinnamon rolls from scratch, you might as well use a recipe that makes a lot so that you can make a double batch and maybe freeze the pan for later. So I've got 12 tablespoons of butter here that I've softened to room temperature so that it's nice and easy to spread. So I'm just going to start spreading that on the top of our dough with an offset spatula. This is the perfect tool for spreading anything, and I'll link to my favorite one in the description box below. So you want to spread the butter out all the way to the edges of the dough. So now we're going to roll up our cinnamon roll dough starting from the end opposite you on the long end. And you're going to roll and kind of pinch the dough in as you go. Use a pinching motion. And just pull it all in towards you. And this dough is so soft and pliable that you'll find that as you're working with it, you can shape it into a longer log as you're rolling it. You just want to pinch and shape as you go, so that it's a nice even thickness all the way through. Okay, so one really great way for cutting cinnamon roll is to use dental floss. So I'm going to slide the floss under the size roll that I want. I want it to be about 1.5 inches thick, and then I'm just going to pull really quickly and tightly, and you'll see that it slices the roll perfectly without smashing the dough. So I'm just going to keep doing this until all the rolls are cut. You want to just do it real quick slice, just like that. And if you want to make sure all your rolls are the same size, you can take the previous one and just set it next to the roll to determine how thick you need to cut it. And that way they're all even and uniform. So I got 12 cinnamon rolls plus an extra 3, and I've put them in a 9 by 13 inch baking dish that I covered with a little bit of butter to grease it. And so with these extra 3, I'm just going to plop them in a round pie pan, and they will bake up just fine like this. So it's fine if the rolls are touching, but you don't want to like smush them in the pan and overcrowd them. So at this point, we're going to cover them again and put them either in a warm oven or warm dryer and let them rise for about an hour until they're nice and puffy and ready to bake. Or you can cover them, put them in the fridge, go to sleep, and the next morning you'll just put them out at room temperature right when you wake up while your oven preheats, and let them sit at room temperature to rise for about an hour. And I'll include instructions for both in the description box below. Alright, so these cinnamon rolls have completed their second rise, and as you can see, they're super puffy and big. I probably could have spaced these out and baked them in 2 dishes like this, because as you can see, the more room they had to spread, the bigger they got. So if you want to try baking these on like a big baking sheet, that would work as well. So I'm going to pop them in a 400-degree oven and we'll bake them away. For the maple cream cheese glaze, you'll want 8 ounces of cream cheese softened to room temperature, 1/3 cup of maple syrup, and 1.5 cups of powdered sugar. Mix that all together until it's smooth and creamy. You can add a tablespoon or 2 of half and half as needed to get the desired consistency. So the cinnamon rolls are baked and out of the oven, and at this point we want to let them cool for about 10 minutes before we put on our maple cream cheese glaze. You'll just spread it all over the top, and then you'll have a little extra glaze left over, which I like to add to the cinnamon rolls as they're sliced, so that each cinnamon roll has a little bit of glaze dripping over the sides. Then when you can't wait any longer, you can go ahead and serve one. The cinnamon rolls are glazed, and I cannot wait to dig into these. They are so pillowy and soft thanks to the secret ingredient, the sweet potato, and the buttermilk. Whoever you make these for is going to feel so special. They're so amazing. They melt in your mouth. You need to make these right away. I've got everything you need to make these in the description box below, including a printable version, so you go print the recipe out and come back and make them with me. You can also check out my playlist for my 10 your best recipes. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. And if you want extra cinnamon flavor in your cinnamon rolls, you can use cinnamon dental floss.